right, well, welcome everybody to our Senior Design Showcase presentation. My name is Taylor Runge. I've been acting as the squad lead and development manager for this project.
Hi everyone, my name is Sam Foyt and I was the product manager for this project. Just welcome everybody to the Compass North mobile app modernization. So what is Compass North? Essentially, Compass North is a airplane management software. They range from a host of solutions to pilot logbook tracking, expense tracking, and even fleet management. Yeah, so our stakeholders for this project, on the left here we have Merrick Krassel. He was the vice president of Compass North and was basically our lead developer and our primary contact when it came to all things technology-wise at Compass North. And on the right here we have Don. Don was is the CEO of Compass North and is also a pilot, so we got very useful feedback on how the app should perform from his perspective.
In terms of industry coach and UNL stakeholders, our project manager was Melanie Kugler-Wright, our tribe lead was Bonita Sharif, and then Chris Hilton was our industry coach. It's been a great honor working with all of these people. This is my second year with Melanie. She's been great. Bonita's been a great tribe lead, giving us guidance and feedback on our lab reports and such. And Chris, I feel like we've gotten a lot of good industry insight and feedback during our meetings from you as well. Looking at our team, starting from left to right there, is AJ Richardson. He's one of our developers. Myself, Brian McGon, another developer, Jace Pethound, another developer, and then you met Sam Foyt at the start of this, our product manager. A little bit about the problem and opportunity we were presented with at the start of this presentation, of this project, I should say. There was an inconsistent experience between the existing mobile and existing website versions of this web app that kind of led to an overcomplicated user flow. It wasn't quite sure sometimes for users what they could be doing on mobile versus on desktop. There was a lack of offline support. Pilots spend a lot of time in the air where they don't have a reliable internet signal, so that was an issue for them, as well as an overgrown database. The database had been constructed when the company was kind of in its early days and then had kind of just gotten built upon without refinements over time.
Yeah, so because of that, we had a lot of unique opportunities to work through. The first being that we got to condense the app into what's known as a progressive web app. Essentially, this allowed users to download the website as a mobile app on their phone, eliminating the need to have a separate mobile app and website component. We also got to streamline the experience of starting a trip and other user input fields, trying to basically rework the flow so it was as logical as possible for pilots. We also got to allow offline caching. Building the offline caching was definitely a very challenging part of this project, but it was a ton of fun trying to get the app to work even while a pilot was 10,000 feet in the air, which was obviously something that was very important to our sponsors. And then we got to obviously rework this database, kind of trim some of the fat and make sure that the models and contracts were as efficient as possible, so the sponsors only were using exactly what they needed.
Taking a look at the product solution here, on the left, or on your left, I should say, you'll be able to see a view of the desktop version of the dashboard. I apologize, it's a little blown out with all the white, but at the top there's an option to start a new trip. Below is recent trips. This is a catalog of all of the trips that a user has created and went through in our system. If there's a current trip that is active, that new trip button instead shows the active trip and allows the user to navigate into it. But in our case, we're creating a new trip. Here, that takes us to a general trip details page. This allows the user to input as much or as little as they want for the initial leg of that trip. So a trip is comprised of multiple legs that are then condensed and looked up under that one trip ID. So when a user then creates that trip, it takes them to a further detail page. This is an example of what that would look like on the mobile view of that progressive web app. You can see the dashboard at the bottom. We've been referring to it as the TikTok style dashboard because they kind of have those icons at the bottom. That one in the middle says current trip at the moment. If there was a new trip to be started, it would switch to new trip. So similar to how the button worked on the dashboard for the desktop site. And then you can see that dashboard and that trip creation page, as I showed before.
Yeah, so here we're going to see the views for the trip and leg details. Obviously, both of these pages contain a lot of information, and users can input different aspects of their data at any point. For example, the trip, like Taylor was mentioning, can have multiple legs, but each leg can have expenses and other things that are specific to that leg. So we try to create this flow here with the users in mind, that it's as easy as possible to edit their data and display it in a way where they can have everything they need as fast as possible. And over here we have the fleet management section of the software. Obviously, it's very important for a software that's focused on pilots to have some sort of mechanism to track the airplanes. So here, pilots can input the information of the aircraft they're going to be flying, and also can see and edit that at any point. It's worth mentioning that both the pages we've been showing you work fully offline, so they're not limited to being on Wi-Fi or connected to internet. They can edit this whenever they want.
Kind of talking through some values and highlights both for us and the sponsor. The seamless mobile experience allows them to reach more people. A lot of people these days maybe have a main phone or iPad that they use, but not necessarily a desktop computer that's easily accessible to them. The architecture refinements that we did allow for scaling of the project, and we feel like we've built a good scaffolding for them to work off of. Offline functionality, again, allows them to increase their user base. There's a lot of remote airfields out there that don't always have a consistent access to the internet, so this allows those users to still categorize and use that data even when in offline. For us, we were able to kind of get used to collaborating with sponsors and with teammates. It's a lot different working in an industry project versus a school project. There's different expectations put upon you, and I think you take a different sense of pride in the project that you put out. And that kind of ties into integrating systems on a real-world application. It's kind of just a different experience when you know that this is going out for people to use and you're using existing models and API calls that have been developed prior to you coming in and touching the project. And we feel like we've just had a great time learning how to work collaboratively with Don and Merrick to get to the bottom of what they want and develop what we hope is a product they're satisfied with. Again, we want to just give a big thank you to everyone on the team, Don and Merrick for being our sponsors, Chris for being our industry coach, Melanie and Bonita as well. Everyone has been amazing to work with. I can't say I really have any complaints. So again, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity, and we hope it's been a good one for you as well.